Hi there, little one. How are we today? I hope we're warm, cozy, and comfy. You deserve all of those things, you special little boy. Today, I have a story for you. It's about a very tiny kobold, maybe tinier than you, who has a very big adventure and still gets to come home for big, warm cuddles. Are we sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Once upon a time, there was a little kobold, not much bigger than you are. He lived in a cozy cottage with his two kobold mummies. One was blue, with the biggest smile and the warmest arms, and the other was red, with the kindest eyes and the gentlest voice. The little kobold was purple, and he liked lots and lots of things. He liked how the sun felt on his scales. He liked his big warm blanket. He liked splashing in the bath. And he especially liked being tucked into bed with two big kisses, one on each cheek. But one day, there were no bedtime kisses because there was no bedtime. The sun rose and never set, bathing the village in endless sunlight. Well, it was fun to start, playing all day in the sunshine, hopping with the frogs and watching the ants. But soon, he became very, very sleepy. So sleepy, in fact, that he lay back in the long, soft grass and, despite the blazing light of the sun, fell deep, deep, deep asleep. And as he slept, the little kobold began to dream. The dream was very different from the waking world. For one, all the grass had turned blue. It flowed like water around him, but it wasn't wet. In fact, he felt lighter than ever. So light, in fact, he began to float up, up, up into the sky. As he floated, he could see all around him, except everything was blue. Blue houses that rippled, blue trees that swayed, but no blue people. No people at all, in fact. Higher and higher he floated until he was swimming into the sky itself. He saw stars everywhere twinkling against the inky blackness, flares of colour and light here and there, and it was quiet. Quiet all except for one little sound. Crying. The little kobold looked everywhere for the source of the crying, and finally he found it. A lady, with skin as black as the sky around him and glowing with white freckles all over her body. Her hair, white and long, hung longer than he'd ever seen hair grow, wrapping around her in a circle as she hugged her knees to her chest. Her dress wasn't any colour that he could say. Black and then purple, and then green, then yellow, all in smears that moved like paint in water. And she was crying. Big, huge tears, each one filled with twinkling stars as they rolled down her sad face. Suddenly, the little kobold woke up. Squinting in the bright light of the still burning sun, he sat up, rubbed his eyes, took a deep, big breath, and ran all the way home. He knew what he had to do. "Are you sure, darling?" asked his blue mummy, who looked nervous and unsure. "Maybe it was just a dream," offered his red mummy, who seemed dubious and concerned. But the little kobold shook his head. He knew what he had seen, and he knew what had to be done. So the little family took to the village, running from house to house, telling everybody what they had seen and what they had to do to make the sun set. It took a long time and a little convincing, but soon they had the entire village all together, laying on their backs in the soft grass, gazing up, up, up at the sky. All exhausted, one by one, they fell asleep. The little kobold waited and watched until it was just him and his mummies. They kissed him on the cheeks, and together they fell asleep in each other's arms. Just as before, the little kobold awoke in the blue field, this time with the rest of his village. They marvelled at just how blue it all was, and one by one, just as he had before, all floated upwards into the black sky. The little kobold floated too, making sure to be at the very top so he could guide everyone to where they needed to go. Soon, he and all his village were amongst the stars, gazing at the incredible size of the universe. And they all heard it. The incredibly sad crying. Wordlessly, the little kobold followed it, and everyone followed him. It took a long time, but at last they came to her once more. The woman with skin like the night, and hair like the galaxy, dressed like the nebula, and tears like the universe. Quietly, she continued to sob, unaware of the many eyes now on her. The little kobold was scared, but brave, and knew just what he had to do. Kicking his little feet, he swam forward, away from his family and neighbours, until he was right by the crying lady. Oh, she was bigger than he ever could have imagined, bigger than the biggest mountain even, each tear like a river falling from her eyes. But the little kobold wasn't going to give up. Oh no. Instead, he reached forward and, best he could with his teeny tiny arms, hugged her. She gasped, her head shooting upwards, and she looked down. In each of her eyes was a whole other world, one filled with darkness and sorrow and loneliness, the other totally dark. The little kobold hugged her tighter. Then Blue and Red Mummy were there, and they hugged her too. "We're so sorry for never thanking you for the night you bring," said Blue Mummy. "We're so sorry we never see the beautiful way you paint the world," said Red Mummy. And they hugged her, and the rest of the village joined in, all tiny compared to her, but their voices ever clear and loud in the silent abyss. "We're sorry for not appreciating you. We're sorry for ignoring you. We're sorry for not loving you." Apology after apology spilled forth, slowly turning into thanks. "Thank you for letting me sleep next to the love of my life. Thank you for letting me kiss my babies goodnight. Thank you for giving us the stars." And the lady called the moon wept, not from sorrow, but from joy. Her tears fell to the world below, bathing it in her radiant silver glow, painting the trees and the homes and the oceans in a cacophony of iridescent shimmer. The little kobold could feel it, how everyone, one by one, began to wake up, vanishing from that special place. Oh, he held on as long as he could, wanting the moon to know just how much he appreciated her. A giant, sparkling hand reached down and gently scooped him up, bringing him to her face. The worlds in her eyes weren't dark anymore. They were alive, and they were twinkling. "Thank you, little kobold," she said, her voice massive, yet gentle, and oh, so soothing. So soothing, he couldn't hold on anymore, and fell back to earth and into his body. He awoke to his mothers, hugging him tight with pride, and all of his village laying back in the soft grass, admiring the beautiful, endlessly starry night sky, bathed in the light of the full and happy moon.